Hi guys, welcome to my part 2 of how to make my cardboard sharks. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to paper mache and also how to tape, and what tape you need and what materials I like to use for my paper mache. Sharks.
That can be your intro music.
Sharks. In this video, I'm going to be covering everything that comes after the cardboard step, including taping, paper mache, and kind of getting into painting your shark. The first step after your cardboard is to take masking tape. I like to use masking tape because I find it to stick to the paper mache best. So I have a section of the cardboard skeleton, and this is what you're going to want to do throughout the entire skeleton of your shark. So first, you're going to want to go horizontally all the way down your shark. And then, depending on what you prefer, I like to just fold it over just because it's nicer. And then I take a longer strip and I go vertically about 2 times just to stick the tape together. And I find that to give a nice smooth finish to the tape so that you have a nice structure for your paper mache to stick to. I'm going to add a fin to show you the fin step. All right, so I have the general shape of what the fin would look like on top of the shark. So I'll show you how I tape it. All I do is I use tape to just go up the side first. All right, so I have all of the cardboard covered with excess along the edge. So here's what I like to do to make it quick and efficient. I take my thumb and I just make sure I push along the edge and fold as I go to keep it nice and tucked along this edge of the cardboard. Really clean and crisp edge. Yep. So you can just keep sliding your finger along the edge of this cardboard. Super quick and efficient. There you go. And so now when you get to this side, if I can just show you real quick. You just take some tape and cover these creases that you just made, and you can go along, cover it, and yeah, that's how I tape it. Fairly simple. And now on to paper mache. So for paper mache, I like to just use things around my house, so I don't really buy Mod Podge like most of you might, but Mod Podge also works for this. I just use Elmer's school glue. The ratio I like to use that is the least amount of Elmer's glue to water ratio is about 1/3 of this Elmer's glue to 2/3 water. So I'm gonna go and add the Elmer's glue, I'm gonna add the water, and then I'm gonna mix it with the paintbrush, and then I'll be back. All right, so now that I have my glue mixture and my taping done, I can start the paper mache. The napkins or paper towels that I like to use are just these brown napkins that I get from fast food places. Again, A nice option because they are free and they just give them out like they don't care. All right, so first I like to rip off a section of my napkin into smaller pieces to decrease the amount of wrinkles in your finished product. Now that I've ripped up my napkins, I'm gonna set these aside. And I'm gonna take a small amount of my glue and water mixture, and I'm gonna just brush it on. I like to push my brush towards the edges to decrease the amount of wrinkles that I get in my finished product. So pushing towards the edge. And just really making sure I get no wrinkles and everything looks super smooth, just like a shark would. I really love working with these brown napkins from these fast food places because they're cheaply made, but they're made to absorb water. Because they're so thin and are made to absorb water, I find that when you layer like this, if they were thicker, it would be much more noticeable where those layers of napkins that you place are. Makes it much nicer to work with, and a nice experience with the paper mache. So yeah, just again, I'm brushing towards the edges. Super easy, super simple, super satisfying as well. And probably the easiest step of this cardboard shark process. Yeah, I really love doing this because it's nice and relaxing. But yeah, it's super satisfying, it's super relaxing. I enjoy it. I enjoy making the videos, editing. The entire process is really enjoyable and just relaxing all in itself. And I hope that you guys enjoy these videos. I put a lot of work into them. And I don't know, I really enjoy making them. So, yeah. Subscribe if you want to. And thank you for finding an interest in my art. I'm gonna try to start posting more videos, especially once I go back to Hawaii on break in a few weeks. Some fishing videos as well. I don't know. Some cool stuff. After you're done with your paper mache, you're gonna wanna wait at least, I'd advise 4 to 6 hours, or I like to just go to bed and when I wake up I can paint the shark or do whatever I need to finish up. But you really wanna let it dry before you paint. If you use acrylics, gouache, or even oil, it will never look good on a wet canvas. So you want to let it fully dry, fully harden, because when you try and paint on this, you're probably gonna pull up the napkins if it's not set. So I really advise for you to let it dry. I've tried it, made all the mistakes. Just let it dry fully. Okay, so this is a thresher shark that I made, and I paper mache'd it, and it's ready for painting. I'm not going to give too much advice on how to paint because I'm not an expert at painting. I'd consider myself a beginner, and I only try my best to replicate what I see on the camera. So I'd advise going to someone else if you were looking to see how to paint your shark. But what I do is I just go over with a base coat. If my shark is gray, I'd go with a mid-tone. So I go with a nice gray mid-tone throughout the shark, and the tops of the sharks tend to be darker, or are always darker than the bottoms. The bottoms are almost always very light gray and white. So I would put a dark layer on top and then a light layer on bottom. I normally blend it with a dry brush, but I have no clue how to blend. So I'm sure you could make it look better than how I blend it, but that's just how I do it, and that's my process, and what I find to be the simplest, yet also most compelling way to paint the shark.